So, basic approach. Grab your roller. Face down. And we're just gonna start with some broad spectrum rolling. So, feet in a relaxed position. And we're just covering the entire length of the leg, just forward and back. Keep your glutes on so that you're not sagging into your back. Okay, glutes on is gonna pull that pelvis into a posterior position and help you keep that back flat. So it's all the way up, all the way down. We're sort of just testing the waters here. Okay, now we've done quad stuff before. We're gonna do one thing that we didn't do last time. We're gonna bias one side. So I'm gonna shift my hips a little bit so that I'm angled towards one leg. I'm gonna focus on hitting this spot here, the vastus medialis. And we're gonna do these one at a time. We're gonna do some tack and stretch while we do that. So I'm gonna put that spot on the roller, and I'm gonna pull my heel to my butt, and I'm gonna try to sort of roll across or rotate the femur so that I'm getting good coverage of that muscle as I apply downward pressure and then elongate those fibers by pulling the heel to the butt. And just hunt around, we're looking for tension. Tension, tension. Sometimes after a tough leg workout, this will be pretty tender, obviously. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. So I'm flipping my hips over, and I'm focusing on that other side. So I'm applying downward pressure, bring the heel to the butt, and trying to get some good coverage. Okay, that's good. We're gonna move on to our pressure waves. We're gonna lie on the side. I've got one leg stacked over top of the other one. Now, if in the starting position where the roller is right now, if this feels like too much pressure, you can bring that top leg forward, plant the foot on the floor to take some pressure off by pushing into the floor a little bit with that foot. Otherwise, we're gonna start from the side, pretty well directly on the IT band, and you're gonna roll forward, roll back. Roll forward, roll back. I want you to do 3 of these, and then I'm gonna roll myself down that way a little bit. Now I'm at a new segment. I'm gonna roll forward, roll back. Roll forward, roll back. Again, 3 and then new segment, roll forward, roll back. And we're gonna continue with this cross-hatching pattern all the way up the leg. But when we get to the greater trochanter, that bony protrusion at the top of the leg, we want to make sure that we're not really digging into that. That's going to be uncomfortable and will probably irritate the surrounding tissue. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to go up to that point, but not on it. But when we do get to that point, we can start angling more towards the front of the body and start hitting that TFL if we can get in there. That depends on the diameter of your roller or whatever else that you're using to do this. Make sure you're practicing just nice, smooth breathing. Never hold your breath on these. We're trying to relax, right? We're trying to loosen up those muscles. And it's hard to do that when your breathing's all tense and restricted. So nice, relaxed breathing. So as I'm getting higher at my leg, I'm just gonna bring my top leg forward just to assist me in this pattern here. I'm actually using this foot to sort of pull my hips through. Keep that bottom leg in extension, so don't start closing up through the hips. I want you to stay nice and open. Getting there, getting there. We're gonna work our way all the way up. Don't rush it. We need 3 repetitions at each segment. Keep those hips forward. Keep those glutes a little active, again, so that we're not putting too much pressure into the lumbar here. And I'm gonna stay a little bit more forward now, a little bit more towards the front of the body to get out of the way of that greater trochanter and start getting into the TFL a little bit. Now I find that the roller, the foam roller, is a little too broad for me to really dig into that TFL, but depending on how tender it is, and if you're keeping those hips in extension, you can get some decent effect there. So I'm applying pressure just below that hip crest. I can feel the front of the roller on the edge of that hip crest. Okay, we're going to switch to the opposite side, same dealio. So we are starting just above the kneecap, roll forward, roll back, roll forward, roll back. We're doing 3 repetitions and then adjust and move to a new segment. One segment at a time, 3 repetitions at each segment. Don't rush it, take it nice and slow. If you need to take some pressure off, again, take that top leg, bring it forward so that you can distribute some of your body weight into that front foot. You want to keep that bottom leg in extension or that bottom hip in extension. So that bottom glute should stay a bit active here to keep those hips extended. Sped through that side a little bit. I think that was just because I did a little bit less explaining. All right, now we're back to that first side. We finished our pressure waves, and if you thought those were bad, this is going to be way worse. So we're starting in that same position, just above the patella. Hips are extended. I'm going to bring this leg forward. I'm going to pull my heel to my butt. Get a better vantage point of that. So again, just above the knees, leg forward. Heel to butt, heel to butt, heel to butt, okay? I like to do about 3 to 5 of these, and then I slide down. New segment, right? Heel to butt, heel to butt. And what you're gonna do, instead of being directly on the side, I want you to get into a position slightly angled forward where we are applying pressure directly on the edge of the IT band where it marries up with the muscle. So 3 to 5 repetitions and then adjust that position. Move to a new segment. Nice, calm, regulated breathing. Make sure you're supporting yourself well here. Keep those hips extended. Don't start collapsing through the hips. See if I can give you a better vantage point exactly what I'm talking about for hips extended. Let's drop this down a little bit. So, hips extended, right? Hips extended. Right, hips extended. Hips collapsed, hips extended. We're really looking at that line with the bottom leg, okay? Straight line, not flexed, straight line. And then we just have that top leg over. Oh, mama. Trying to go as high as we can here. Because we're slightly forward of the IT band, we're going to carry on upwards all the way up to that TFL. good. I'm gonna go to the other side here. So again, just above the knees. Leg forward, heel to bum. 3 repetitions, 3 to 5, depending on what feels good to you. How slow or fast you want to get through these. And fast might be a bit of a misnomer here. We don't really want to go fast through these. Take your time, right? I'm trying to loosen up. I'm trying to hunt down that tension. We want to try not to micromanage our muscle maintenance, our tissue maintenance. So if we can take at least one day to really spend some time on this, we might actually get an effect out of it. Because contrary to popular marketing, there's really not a whole lot of controlled scientific evidence to indicate that stuff like myofascial release, or even massage for that matter, works any better than placebo for either reducing perception of pain, improving recovery, or even improving performance, that sort of thing. But that doesn't mean that it's not useful, and it doesn't mean that you as an individual won't benefit from it. Because results occur on somewhat of a bell curve. So you'll have people who find a lot of benefit out of it, you'll find people who see no benefit from it, and then you'll have people in the middle who have negligible, right, average results, if any. And again, a lot of it's perception. I like to think of all the rolling stuff, especially with this quad rolling stuff, is about building pain tolerance. And just as one brief example, back when I was personal training full time, in between each client, I would hop on the roller. And so I was doing that so often that I had to eventually use a PVC pipe to get that same feedback from the roller and that pressure, because the foam wasn't doing it for me. Okay, found something here, right in that TFL on the right side. You'll know it when you find it. Hips extended, keep breathing. Oh, God. All right. So now that we did a little bit of myofascial, the theory here is that the stretches that you do are gonna be more effective because the muscles will be more pliable. They'll be a little bit warmed up, more pliable, more receptive to that stretch effect. So when we bring a muscle to length, it has an antagonistic response to contracting the opposing direction when we get to end range. And depending on how you're doing your myofascial stuff, we can influence that a little bit and maybe create a little bit more resting length and stretching length. So right now, just stretching out through those hips a bit. That glute on a little bit. Don't dump too much pressure into the lumbar. Okay, that's good.